Okay. Good morning. I think we'll begin. Good morning. Welcome. Thank you for coming along to this workshop this morning, and I emphasize the workshop. This is not going to be a session where you sit in your seats for 2 hours and listen to people speak. There will be some of that, but there will also be a lot of time up on your feet trying out the mWater app and the various tools that are associated with it. My name's Rob Fuller. As you can see on the screen, I work for WaterAid. I'm WaterAid's global water sector advisor based in London in the UK. And I have the honour of moderating the session here this morning. The good news is that means I don't do much of the work, but I have lots of colleagues here who are doing the work with me. So here is the agenda for the session today. Like I say, we've given ourselves plenty of time because it's an active session. That does mean if you need to pop out to the bathroom or go and grab a glass of water, please just feel free to do so at any point during the session. I'm delighted to be joined by a number of colleagues from both WaterAid and organisations we work closely with this morning today. So as I just mentioned their names, I won't do biographies, but colleagues, as you come up and talk, please just introduce yourselves in a bit more detail. So behind me here we have Ellen Greggio. Ellen, give us a wave from mWater, which is the system we're going to talk about today. We have engineer Patrick Kaizi from Eastern Umbrella of Water and Sanitation in Uganda. We have Yurika Winarendi from Semarang Water Company in Indonesia, and Yurika is going to present and be available. My colleague Hannah will be here in a while. She's not here yet. And also my colleague Sarah, who sat there, and if you have any issues getting online or any technical issues, please just go and ask Sarah, and Yurika can help with that as well. The intention of the session this morning is to introduce you to the functionality of or to introduce you to mWater, and many of you won't be familiar with mWater and what it does and what it can do. So to introduce you to the app and the system, and to introduce you to the functionality, and critically to actually get you using it to see how easy it is. mWater as an organisation and as a tool is something WaterAid has been associated with actually for quite a number of years, and we use it extensively within our own operations internally. We use it for all of our project monitoring, our ongoing evaluation of our work. But in recent years, we've also started to implement it more and more into our WAP programme as well, and WaterAid is a facilitator and a convener of quite a few WAPs around the world in our global programme. The reason we've done that is one of the things we've learned from doing WAPs is that many of the mentee utilities we work with, actually one of their chief issues is just knowing what their assets are, where their assets are, what condition they're in, and having those records in a format that is easily accessible and shareable both amongst their staff, but also with the staff of their mentor partners as well. And the beauty of mWater and why we settled on that as the system we wanted to use for this was it is free to use, it is open access, which is clearly important from a cost perspective, and it is cloud-based, so it can be used in environments where you don't have any kind of Wi-Fi signal or satellite signal. You can still grab data. When you get back in signal, it will upload it, so all the storage is cloud-based. We found it's an incredibly useful tool for partners within a WAP to start to have that conversation about the beginnings of strategic asset management. And that's really what today's topic about is how can you start to transition into a world where you are strategically managing your assets and planning, start to think about asset investment planning in a structured fashion as well. And that word transition is important because we recognise this is a journey, and we aren't presenting mWater as a final solution to asset management for utilities, but this is very much a stepping stone on that way to evidence-based management and evidence-based understanding of your assets. I will stop talking at that point and hand over to Ellen, and Ellen will tell you a lot more about the system because she knows an awful lot more about it than I do. So thank you very much. I will be around throughout the session.
Thank you, Rob. So good morning, everyone. I'm Ellen Greggio. I'm a water sector monitoring specialist at mWater. And I'll introduce you briefly to mWater for those of you who are not familiar with it yet. And we'll also go through some of the capacities for asset management and then sharing some of the experience of using this for a national level monitoring in Haiti, where we have both government and utilities using the system. So we heard yesterday in some sessions that data is key for utilities. We have financial data, operational data, key performance indicators. Having access to data is key to increase the utilities efficiency, to ensure services are provided for all, so equity of service provision, to ensure also creditworthiness. There was an interesting session on that yesterday at the World Bank talking about IBNET and how self-reporting is key to ensure also benchmarking between utilities. Many assessments have identified, though, that there's a gap in the approaches and tools for collecting and having access to data for utilities, from the very advanced softwares, hydraulic specialist softwares, and the very, very simple data collection softwares. There's a big gap across this, and there's high cost in some of the software's access. So mWater tries to address this gap that we can see here in the graph. mWater, it's a public digital good. That's how we like to define it. It's a free software, open access. We have over 200,000 users at the moment in over 191 countries. Those 200,000 users, 99% of those are users that access and use the platform for free. And we only have around 1% of users who are actually actively contracted with us to do some specific developments, customization of the software. But that 1% is what allows the 99% of the user to use the software for free. So we have users which are governments, as I will show you with Haiti. We have NGOs as WaterAid actively using it strongly. Utilities, through some of the operator partnership, for example, are using the software. So mWater, I'm going to go quite quickly, but you'll experiment this today, is based on two components. We have obviously a data collection app, the Surveyor, which is the one we hopefully you have access now on your phones. If you don't, we'll help you log in. And a portal where you can design your surveys and access the data. The scope of mWater is very much about democratizing data and data analysis. So we really aim to address the whole data value chain, from data design, data collection, data analysis, data management, and sharing. We based a lot of our data collection processes through standards, so best practices in the sector, and we create some open standards as well. The data is owned by the users. It's not public unless you make it public. Okay, so this is a key important information, like not by using mWater, you're not sharing your data unless you want to share it with some of your colleagues. We also have developed mWater further with the utility in mind. And so we developed a number of different capacities of mWater that really target utilities' data needs. So from asset management, which we'll talk in much more detail today, to financial management. So we have an accounting system, which is used by some of our users. We're working on a planning tool that looks at budgeting. We have a commercial angle of the software that can be used for customers' relationship and billing. Maintenance, we'll test a little bit of that today as well. Reporting operations and maintenance in your system. And then customer service in terms of customers reporting back any issues, and then regular operations and maintenance monitoring. So now going to more details of asset management. mWater has really developed from being, at the early stage, very much a water point mapping for rural context, where we had mostly boreholes, so springs that were mapped, and that was the kind of the common usage in the rural sector mostly, to actually developed into a more advanced water system asset management, so that can be used by utilities as well. So from smaller systems to a larger urban-based system. We have developed a standard for assets that is a key reference. So this means we have a number of vertical and horizontal axes. I hope you can see well that. What it is obviously you have all the different assets of water systems, from sources to pumps, pipes, valves, sensors. All of these have their own attributes, and you'll try and test some of this today to collect this. And you can create different hierarchical structure to your system. So you can have a valve, which is part of a pipe, which is part of a water system. Okay? So very similar to any other asset management software. All of this is available on mWater, and you can customize it as well as needed. Now, how does this look like? I'm just going to show briefly this video where it looks quickly how you can collect this information on the app, and we'll go through this together today with an exercise. But what this is happening here is creating a water system with the app. We're giving a name, we're giving an ID. So if you have specific government or utilities ID to the system, then what we create is a catchment area for the water system by adding points directly on the map when you're on the ground. So this app is what is used by operators on the ground to collect all the information on the assets. We can see here, we're creating the polygon around the catchment area. Then we start giving some attributes. So you have what type of water system it is, what type of source, what is the condition of the water system, when was it built, all the standard information that are needed for asset management. When you create the water system, after that, you can create a child asset. This is what's happening now. We're going to add a child asset, so a pump, a pipe, etc., under that water system. So all of this is quite rapidly done through the app on the ground by the operators. And that allows to build quite complex water system, as you can see on the graph here. This is from Haiti, and it's quite a large water supply system that has been mapped. Now, once the data is collected, it can be visualized on mWater. You can create your own dashboard, customize consoles and dashboards where you can visualize data. What we have recently launched is a template for the analysis of water supply systems. So just to facilitate our users, because we know it's more complex to do some of the data analysis, so to facilitate that, we created a template that you can download immediately with a click, and I'll show you, where you have some automatic visualizations of your water supply. So you have your map, you have information on the assets, the details of the assets, you have operation information, you have maintenance needs, so based on the condition of the assets, based on the age of the assets. So predicting how many assets will need to be replaced in a certain year. And then it has some financial estimates, and then you can download easily the data on Excel if needed and map. So I'll show you quickly how that looks like. I need to go back to the browser. So this is our mWater portal where we develop data collection, where you can develop your own survey. You can all do this. It's free access, so you can start building your own survey for data collection. This is where you can visualize the data, and I just want to show you quickly. This is literally where we have a template for water quality and also water asset console. So by clicking here, you select which water system you want to visualize. I'm just going to show you a demonstration now with one already loaded. This is one water system in Uganda that has been mapped. You have information with the map of the water system, images, information about the status, and some of the assets. This is the summary landing page. Then you can go into a more detailed asset information. So how many sources do we have? What are their condition? What are their age? You have images as well, so you can click on this and visualize immediately your asset. Pumps, tanks, pipes, all of these ones. This is just a template, as I said. You can edit this and add whatever assets you're interested in visualizing more. We have a maintenance tab. So this really highlights the status of the assets. How many are, in this case, it's a quite recent water system, so they're all in good condition, so they're all green. If you had some of the assets in poor condition, it will come up as red, and you will have a list of the assets that need maintenance based on the condition. Then you have age-based maintenance. Financial data. So this represents, you will have a summary of all the, if you have inputted your replacement cost of the assets, you will have a total of the replacement cost of the assets. So yeah, this is a template, as I was saying, to visualize your water supply data that has been collected. Great. So I'm just going to show you quickly now an example of how this has been used for a national monitoring system in Haiti. So Haiti really have seen an evolution of how the utilities, the government, has been managing their water supply, from having very basic data on their water supply to actually have one single system that has been used across the whole country to manage water supply in rural and urban context. It's been a long evolution. Started with an NGO working in Haiti, Haiti Outreach. that was mapping some of the water systems, and then with time has evolved with number of donors supporting different developments, from urban water supply system mapping to rural, and then to creating a whole national system. So the government, the DINEPA department, uses mWater now, has built their own management information system, fully customized. So they're an example, not them, but the donors behind it, were an example of that 1% that keeps the platform running for everyone. They wanted a customized version of the software. So we have worked with them to create a customized version. So that was a one-off payment, but then after that, the software is free, used by all the government departments, by utilities. So it's a fully customized mWater. I'll show you an example, the website. You will not see an mWater logo on it. Yeah? This is very important. The platform is owned by the government. It's not an mWater platform. It's just built on the platform, as you can build a modeling on Excel, but you're not going to know that, you're not going to focus on Excel. We aim to be a tool that users can develop their own tools within mWater. So let me show you quickly the SIEPA system. Here we go. So this is SIEPA, as you can see, customized logo, no mWater logo on it, government logo on this, and then you have a number of different users that can access different parts of the data set. So this is also an important component of mWater. We allow different administrative rights of the data to different users. So in this case, for example, ONEPA is a national level visualization. So they will be able to see all of the data. It's in French. We have also the translation in English. I can show you in a minute. They might have national indicators that aggregate all the information from the different utilities of the rural water supply at national level to provide an overview of what the situation is across the country. And then maybe you have a more detailed information which is used instead by the utilities. I'm going to show you. This is different water supply system in the country that are managed by different operators groups. You can have the detail of your water system with a map, all the assets mapped, as we were showing before. And then some key performance indicators, commercial data, financial data, and technical data. So all the revenue, it's kind of reported through the system, number of active connections, and all the information about the water supply that is provided, number of breakups, how much maintenance has been done. All of that information is all institutionalized and reported in the one system with different surveys. I'm not going to go into details of it. As you can see, there's quite a lot in here. There are different tabs for different users. So what has this led to in Haiti is we've seen we have over 40,000 sites that are tracked regularly. 100% of the water supply systems are reporting through this system. So all the operators, different operators managing the water supply systems are reporting through this. All the different development partners are aligning. So we have, also with the emergency situation at the moment in Haiti, we have different organizations who are contacting the organization, the ONEPA, the national team that is managing this, to get access to the surveys, be able to report through the system. This also has led to an increased number of connections because of the efficiency of the utilities in managing the water supply, increased number of clients, leak repair completed and documented, and increased access to national reporting data being available. So this is just an example of a journey that we went through together with the government of Haiti. We're starting to work, and we'll hear a little bit from Uganda as well, where we're working to demonstrate how we could build some of this there as well. And that's it for me. Contacts here. We'll have some question session later and some exercise after. So. Thank
you once again, Ellen. So that was deliberately fast because we didn't want to turn this into a lecture about just mWater. It's not a sales pitch, this is just presenting how mWater is being used in various different contexts and giving you a chance to use it. I'd realised in my introductions I forgot one of my colleagues, so Jeannie Cole is about to lead one of these sessions as well. So apologies, Jeannie, for not introducing you. So we're just going to now, I'm going to hand over to Engineer Patrick Kaizi from the Eastern Umbrella of Water and Sanitation in Uganda. And Patrick's just give us a short presentation on how they are utilising mWater in their operations. And the Eastern Umbrella is one of the utilities we work with, along with Welsh Water, in one of our WAPs, one of our EU WAPs. And they are very much in this transition to a digital asset management environment. So Patrick, please. Do you know how to find your slides on here?
Yeah.
There you go, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Rob, and good morning, everyone, for those who are not here in the beginning. I'm here only to demonstrate what we've been able to do as regards utilization of mWater. Our work might not be so detailed as it has been shown, because we are progressively using the system slowly by slowly. On whatever stage that we reach, we adopt the process and then get to collect the data. Recapping from my presentation yesterday, I mentioned about the issue of data collection and then the utilization of data. And with that, much of our data has been in paper form, so we had to adopt the digitalized way of capturing data, and also to support us in asset management, because our partners are in UK, others are in America, and when it comes now to discussions, they would wish to have on-time data when it comes to visualization. So we were introduced to mWater in 2019, and we were able to do a demonstration and training in 2020. And when we got the EU WAP on board, that is the support of WaterAid and Welsh Water, we were able to scale up the utilization of mWater. And we've been able to use it, as I'm going to demonstrate. Initially, we started by creating our management platform, because they've mentioned of the system being open source, but you can decide to have your data concealed. So we created our management structure that has only 39 users. If you're part of these users, you're able to access the data, but if you're not part, then you cannot access the data. We have the IT support, we have the monitoring, then we have the technical services team, and below that, this was our first project that we did with the support of WaterAid in 2020, and later when we got EPICS on board, we had now to scale up and create more users. And in here, every time we get activities, we keep on adding more users. But just to show you a bit of the composition of our users. Yeah, because now we have the administration, those that fall into administration, we have those under management, and then also we have those who do the verification and just for viewing. And as mentioned, all of these have different rights. Admins can add people, can remove people, can edit data, as well as managers. They also have their level for interaction with the system, as well as lastly to those who do the data collection, and then the process goes on and on and on. Then I mentioned also about data collection, where I mentioned of us using mWater for socioeconomic household surveys. And from this, we are able to establish areas of low-income customers, so that when we are doing our network planning, we are able to extend them well. So I'll just quickly go into one of the socioeconomic surveys that we deployed for prospective customers. And in this, we are able to get, we deployed a number of colleagues at the level of enumerators, and this supported us in collecting data. So for someone who is at management level, or you're able to interact with all these guys and also be able to visualize the data they've collected. So looking at the responses that they made, you're able to view who collected data and at what point and when, because all the information is captured, looking at the time they collected the data, the date, and also the data that captures, the data that also captured from the field. Then going into the summary view of the data. Yeah, you're also able to just view who has collected what and then where. Then lastly is on the element of visualization. There are cases where you want to make quick decisions and you don't have that time of doing a lot of computations to get quick responses. So when you collect data and you have access to the visualization, you can be able to see and make quick decisions. Give an example for our EPICS project towns. We have Buyende, Namayinga, and Namutumba. And from the data collected, we are able to see a number of aspects that we had captured in the data collection tool. Now looking at, say, like, if you want to prioritize homes that have female-headed homes, we just look through the composition and see whether they are balancing, whether they are more or less, and then see how we can prioritize our targeted connections when we are doing the extensions. A lot of attributes, a lot of data in the different attributes can be visualized very quickly, and then you take quick decisions when it comes to network expansions and the addition of new connections. Just one item I would like to also indicate, it's about something to do with photos. You see, much of our discussions has been on water and water, but it should be clear that water moves with sanitation. So for all the connections that we make, we ensure that all these households are compliant with the sanitation requirements. So we utilize this for visualization so that we are able to identify homes that would need support so that they can improve on their sanitation elements in their homes, both for the toilets and then areas where they do the bathing. Then looking at the element of planning, we've been doing a number of extensions under the EPICS project, but we've been able to utilize this tool to do quick mapping and do preliminary financial analysis before we go into the modeling and then investment in these areas. So this is one of the planned networks that we are currently undertaking. We had to extend water from here and then do primary and secondary distributions within this area. So the teams on ground could do preliminary surveys, and we could be at office visualizing and seeing whether the proposed areas are okay before we go into the detailed surveying and design. This helps us to save on time and also make quick decisions when it comes to investment. And that is on the area of planning, and these are about 38 kilometers of pipe network that we are currently undertaking. And we used mWater for planning before we went into the detailed surveying. Then going into the element of asset mapping, just like I've mentioned, much of our asset data has been in paper form. So when we went into the digitalization, we had to use mWater with reference from the paper information that we have to map some of the pipe water systems that are under the EPICS project. That is an EU Ops project that we're undertaking with Welsh Water and WaterAid. They've mentioned of the child and the child assets. For this case, with the parent asset here is Namutumba pipe water system. We have the scheme connections in there. We have the transmission. We have the pump stations. But when you go to, say, like the pump station, like Matiama, in this case, we consider Matiama as a parent asset. So below it, there are some child assets. So when you go deep inside and you keep clicking, you'll find that there are details in there that are captured. I think for Matiama, since it's work ongoing, information might not be there. Guys are still collecting data, but I can check out another system. I think visualization, surveys, sites, assets. Yeah, well, it has a quick navigation. You can quickly punch in and then get to what you need. Yeah, it's here, Kangurumo Pump Station. It's a parent asset, and inside it, the number of child assets. So if you want to see whatever you want to see, you just click on it based on what you're interested in, and then you will be able to see the different attributes and the details. Yeah, so that is how it's organized, right from parent assets, then to child and child and child assets. Then lastly is an issue of visualization. After collecting data for the assets, you're able to develop consoles, because they mentioned and showed the other detailed consoles, but as we are still developing ours processed by following different stages. And for the case of the pipe water system of Namaingo, Kalamira, okay, I can just quickly, can just quickly visualize. Consoles. Just quickly, you can quickly visualize, just select the system, Namaingo. Yeah, quickly you're able to go into the system and then be able to check the information you want to check. Ours is still under development, but possibly what we want to demonstrate is a tool that we've been able to adopt and use very quickly. Yeah. Yeah, we're also able to visualize the system. In the data, for the consoles that have been created, there is the number of data sets. Now in the background, the yellow dots give the population density for the population that was collected by mWater. So it can also give you a quick reflection of the number of customers that you're supplying water with, just to give, yeah. Come again to assets. I just want to give a quick, this is Namtumba. Visualization. Not assets. Namtumba again. Yeah, I think I'm.
We're going to do this later on in the session anyway. So.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to just reflect something small about population served, and it's just coming in just in a minute.
Yeah, so just to say, this takes a little bit of time because it's filtering out all of the systems that are mapped on mWater. Yeah?
Take your
It
time.
takes a bit of time.
Take your time. Don't worry. Take your time.
Okay.
Yes, yes. We are not in hurry.
Yeah.
To 12:30.
Okay.
It's processing a lot of data.
Something I wanted to reflect quickly. There are cases where we collect data and you'd want to quickly know the number of people you're serving. So mWater can support you in quickly giving you a figure of how many people you're supplying water with. And basically the rest of other quick information can also be visualized on the first pane. Thank you very much.
We want to move into an exercise after, but in the meantime, so I'm going to put up a slide which has the QR code to access the surveyor, so that we can test using the app in the room, but we'll talk about that in a minute. In the meantime, while you're doing, some of you might have to do this, because some of you did it at the entrance. While you're doing this, if you have any questions, we have a few minutes to do Q&A now. Then we're doing the exercise, and then we have more presentation. Yes? In the meantime, try to access the surveyor, and you have to create an account, and then we'll do a quick exercise just to test it in the room, yeah?
So the QR is not for questioning?
No, this QR, it's to access the app, yeah.
So the first question.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for the presentation that you did. Regarding the presentation you have mentioned, I would like to ask, this is for recording because I would like to ask how we should upload all the network as an assets into the mWater. Is it the process of having like AutoCAD or shape files coming from different software? And I would like to see or to surf in the software to make the comparison between the ArcGIS and the mWater.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. Good questions. So definitely there is, so the tool was developed so that you can map the assets, and this is what we will test in the room as well. So with the app, you can actually map yourself the assets on the ground, but you can also import the assets, the existing assets. So if you have a database of the assets, there is a way to kind of import these with the GPS location, obviously essential, and attributes to the specific asset. The assets have, on mWater, have specific attributes like status, or if it's a pump, the model of the pump, etc. So you need to obviously match the assets before importing. But there is a way to import the assets on mWater, as there is a way to import a lot of other data by creating a template survey that allows you to import. For assets, there is another model for importing those. It's through an Excel file, but there is a way also to import some shape files, but not directly from AutoCAD at the moment. And then in terms of, sorry, I'll get the other questions. In terms of quick...
GIS, for example.
Yes, GIS. So obviously GIS is the more advanced way to map water systems and to do some of the analysis. Not all utilities can afford, in terms of the fee that it costs to have ArcGIS, or QGIS is free, but it's quite complex also to use it. So what we try to do with mWater is, with the mapping capacity, is recreate some of the capacities, so creating layers, different layers of water supply with population density layer, for example, overlapping, and you can do some calculations similarly, like overlays and the formulas, similarly to ArcGIS, but directly on the portal. So it integrates the mapping capacity in a simplified way, with other capacities such as data collection and data analysis. It doesn't aim to replace ArcGIS. Yeah? If you have ArcGIS expert, that's great. What we're trying to do here is help those users who do not have ArcGIS expert in the utilities to actually be able to do some maps of water supply systems. Yeah? So that's important. We're not replacing existing infrastructure or systems or database that you have. The idea is that it helps addressing a gap where advanced softwares are not used.
And this is for analysis and prediction, also improves the insight?
Say that again, sorry?
The prediction of the lifetime. And
Yes. So prediction of lifetime, so every asset you can enter the expected useful life. of the assets. We are developing some capacities where we have a reference table for expected life for some assets so that you can predict the replacements as well. Yes.
It's a mobile app.
Sorry. I think we're just going to give a few minutes because we want to do an exercise, so you might try it as well, so you'll answer your questions.
I mean,
yes.
this is a free mobile app, yeah?
Yes, it is.
For free.
Everything is free, yes.
What
I
about
can't.
the data? Where is it stored?
So the data is on an online cloud server, yes, with a lot of security protection. I can send, yeah, there's a whole explanation on the security on that, yes.
I mean, for free and disclosed, you are talking about huge data.
Yes, we have 200,000 users already.
Water utilities
Yes,
and assets.
yes.
So is that, is it only, I mean, for free it will be in cloud?
It is for free on the cloud, yes. The business model is that we have a number of users and users, donors that support different utilities that are providing continuous work with us in terms of new developments. Like we keep creating new capacities, for example, the planning capacity, expected life. This automatic asset visualization was something we developed recently. All these new capacities are funded, and the maintenance of the server through the 1% contracts that, clients that we have.
I understand your reaction, because that was mine as well. There's a surprising amount that is free in mWater. I'm just going to take, there's 2 more questions at the back, and then we'll get to the exercise. So perhaps
we have more time after.
To them separately. So gentleman at the back here, sorry.
Okay. Good morning, Thomas de Beyer. In fact, it's 2 questions. The first question would be, or is that, what is required in a water or in a small community or water utility as IT experts to set up such a system? Is it necessary to get external expertise, or is it something that could be done with internal staff with a minor IT knowledge? The second question is, from your point of view, would it make sense, let's say, most of the water utilities already have a certain basic system of GIS. Would it make sense to run both systems in parallel, mWater and the GIS system, which is, for most of the people, too complicated to do mapping in the field? That's mainly the problem that we're facing all over the world.
Right.
So these are the questions.
Really good questions, and I think Patrick can also answer some of these with me, because he's an example of a users in Uganda. So in terms of IT capacity, you don't really need to have an IT expert to set up mWater. Like, the idea is that the platform allows you to customize what you want to create, so the data collection survey, the visualizations. Obviously, if you are someone who's used to doing data analysis, you might get it quicker, but it definitely does not need any IT support. We've seen users picking up the platform, running their own data collection, consoles, data visualization, without any IT technical support. And in terms of other systems, so if you have utilities, as I was mentioning before, using advanced ArcGIS and being experts in that, definitely this is not replacing that. What it can help, though, is with the data collection on the ground, so actually mapping the assets, which we want to try and do here as well, and then exporting the data if you want on ArcGIS, but also using the console for quick analysis. Patrick was mentioning how quickly you can visualize your system. So if you need to make quick decisions about where do we want to expand the network, you're able to do that immediately on the platform. So it really depends on the level of analysis you want to do, but we aim to try and use, to see how the platform can support the different decision-making processes. Hopefully that answers.
One last question.
Yes.
Thank you, Ellen. Mine actually not a question. I'm Mikhail Aberra from Ethiopia, working for IRC Wash. So I've been using this tool actually a lot for the last, I would say, 5 years, and I really appreciate and thank mWater, making our work really easier, because the tool is getting developed, and for example, in the case of, whenever there is drought for rural water mapping, we are really using extensively to identify, for example, functional boreholes, so that we can coordinate, for example, water tracking and so on during droughts in especially lowland areas. So, this asset management feature is also really helpful for utilities that we are supporting, because there is no such documentation and mapping of data in small utilities in small towns in Ethiopia. So I think that I can see the potential for such utilities, for example, so that it will help to improve documentation, at the same time linking this asset management with operation and maintenance. So yeah, I think I appreciate really mWater to provide this tool for the sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Definitely, I mean, this is a good point in terms of like the target users that we see. It's also those medium-scale water towns, the medium-scale utilities who don't have capacity to have their own expertise, GIS experts maybe in-house. So it's a way to kind of address that gap, as I was saying at the beginning of the presentation. So yeah, great to hear the experience from Ethiopia as well on this. Thank you, Michael. So hopefully you have all managed to access the surveyor. So that's the app that we use for the data collection. So what we're going to do is try and use it in the room and outside as well. We have put some posters up to map a water systems, a fake water system that we created in the room. Obviously, there's one we noticed, because we're inside a building with a lot of concrete, the GPS of your phones is not going to work very well. Yeah, so the accuracy is going to be very low inside. But when you're outside, if you want to try this when you're out later, when you're doing your lunch break, you'll see the GPS accuracy will go much better. Yeah? So the exercise we'll do will be a little bit inaccurate because the GPS inside buildings is never very good on phones. So this is one of the things we often have reports on, like GPS. If you're doing a training indoor, it's going to be an issue. We always like to do trainings outdoors because it really represents the real case scenario where you're mapping assets outdoors. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to show, so we're going to create a water system through your app. You can create your own water system, give it your own name and code, and then we'll map some child assets. We can start with sources, tanks, pumps, pipes. We have put a few posters around inside and outside. So if you want to try a little bit and map some of the child assets, and there's going to be a few of us helping you around. We have approximately maybe a 10 to 15 minutes to try this together. So we're here to help you out. As we said, this is not just a presentation session. We wanted you to trial a little bit the app as well. I'm just going to show you briefly how it looks like. It should look like on your phone. You should have something like this. Yes? On your phone? So you go on water assets. Sorry, loading an update. We launch updates quite regularly, so sometimes there's an alert coming, say, relaunch, there's an update to the app. So water assets. You can create an asset, a water system. So who manages the water system? This is linked to what Patrick was showing. If you're part of an organization, like the Eastern Umbrella, as Patrick was showing, you will be able to say, this water system belongs to the database of the Eastern Umbrella. Yeah? In this case, we can just do only me. That means only you will be able to access that water system. Yeah? But if you're part of an organization, of a team, you'll be able to attribute that water system to that specific organization. You can give it a name, an ID, take a picture, and then you can use your location, GPS. Obviously, on the computer, it's not going to be very good, the GPS, but on the phone, it will be much better. So we do this, and then we add child assets. You should be able to see, after you create it, that you can add a child asset to this, which might be a source, a pump, and a tank. And if you want to, so we exercise a bit, stand up, we can map out some of the assets around the room.
Yeah, so this is a live exercise. So there are assets, there are posters here, there are posters on the windows.
Outside.
Here outside as well. Think about how you might set up a water system from source to taps. And we have help here.
You can map the water points.
If you're struggling, we have Jeannie back here with the outside.
I can help out as well.
Ellen and Patrick as well. Patrick's over there. So have a look at the pictures, have a look at your assets. Go and have a try. Don't ask me, because I'm not technical.
Yes.
So it could give us like all the assets and
Yeah, you can use the mWater standard. That is because we have different templates. So you can use the standard.
70%.
manages that?
Who will pay
Who
the
manages it? Only you.
Only me.
So, yeah, perfect.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
By the way,
Yes, just come follow it.
Okay.
upload or no? If I want to upload photo.
Yes, you click there, select. Camera. And you can take a picture of the workplace.
Yes.
Yeah?
ده هو
قول نطقت الدايرة الدستور لما صور اسمع خالد اسمعني يا خالد الصورة لما حط صغير ولا من هو الكبير شفت امبارح الصورة هلا هذا قلت لك جوا الغرف ايه برا اطلع البركه اطلع البركه هاي للشرب مش تقعد عليها لا 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 عيب عيب منو؟ أنا لا يمكن أبلغ
Sorted. Okay, so if you can retake your seats now, colleagues outside hopefully just coming back in shortly.
If there was any challenges or questions, we can discuss it after, yeah?
Yeah, we have a block in the end.
But I'm glad you tried a little bit to use the app.
Okay, so coming on now to the second half of the workshop. Hopefully that was a useful experience for those of you that got up. That is the mapping side, the data collection side, and just one aspect of it. So just mapping the physical location and characteristics of assets as well. And that is just one component of mWater's data collection functionality. We're going to look at the other side of it now, very much at the data presentation, data visualization side. And I'm delighted that we've got Eureka Winarendre from Semarang, a utility in Indonesia and part of the Waterworks program, to come and talk about how they've been using mWater within that program. And Eureka will be followed by Hannah Gray from WaterAid, who works closely with Anglian Water and Nepal Water Supply Corporation, but that is a second presentation. So, Eureka, please. If you just hit the...
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Eureka Winarendre. I am project consultant in WaterWorks Semarang, Indonesia, and I am also representing water utilities PDAM Kota Semarang, as you can see on the screen. So we are collaborated with 5 Dutch water operators, and so yeah, I'm going to present the actual implementation by using mWater in promoting effective service delivery with customer surveys. And beforehand, I would like to invite you to see our country, Indonesia. Indonesia, where the surveys take place, and the city of Semarang, where we live, and where the water utility is located. So, yeah, this is one of biggest cities in Indonesia with 1.6 million population, and this city has unique characteristics. So we have 2 different geographical conditions. We have so basically we have lowlands with coastal areas, and we have highlands with mountains, as you can see on the map. And it is also challenging for water utilities to deliver the water from lowlands to highland because of the gravity, and sometimes they also have difficulties to deliver the water in the lowlands because very low pressure, and we are also facing land subsidence issues. So that's why the presence of WOP through WaterWorks, we promote mWater app to the water utilities to identify which location with low coverage, because not all citizens of Semarang connected to water utilities. So we are using mWater app to do surveys to get more customers. So these are our surveys. So we have customer satisfaction surveys to understand strengths and weakness of water utility in providing water to existing customers, and also marketing survey to get more customers in the area with existing pipeline networks. We also have real demand survey to gain insights to determine which best locations to extend the network. Actually, we also have another survey on leak detection. But if you want to know more, you can contact me later on. So I will go to the customer satisfaction survey. So yeah, we have implemented this survey twice, in 2020 and 2022. So this is the team. So we are working together with the PDAM, with the water utilities, as administrator in the mWater, and also approver. So if you going deep into the mWater app, so you, and as Patrick said, there is a deployment. So we deploy all these people as administrators, approvers, and also enumerators. So we hired enumerators from external parties, and we trained them to use mWater. And yeah, we also did a random sampling, 1,000, more than 1,000 respondents. And this survey is not only based on branch level, but also water supply zones. So you can see on the screen, so we have this dashboard. So we make a map, and then pie charts, and bar charts. And then the other side, there is a map. So we make a map from GIS because we didn't use mWater for analysis. We just use mWater for data collection. So we exporting data from mWater and then export it to Excel, and then Excel exporting and importing Excel data to GIS. So yeah, the advantage by using this is not only identifying which location with high dissatisfaction, but also we know in which water treatment plant that needs to be improved in Semarang. Okay, and the next is marketing survey. So this survey aims to market, to promote our services, because not all citizens of Semarang using water utilities, so we want to get more customers. And the survey itself located in the areas with existing pipeline networks, but with less coverage and have remaining production ideal capacity. And we had more than 18,000 respondents. It's a lot in all 4 branches. So we have 4 branches, and the enumerators are from water meter readers. Why we choose water meter readers? Because they know better the location and they have access data to GIS in the company. And also water meter readers are an employee of water utility in Semarang. And the advantage by doing marketing surveys, there are number of reconnection and new connection is around 3,000 households. Yeah, because when we were doing survey, we are not only asking questions to respondents, but we are also asking their phone numbers, WhatsApp numbers, so water utility can keep in touch with new potential customers and send the promotion to them to get connected to water utilities. And besides that, during the survey, we also found that there are many illegal pipeline connections in Semarang, social conflicts, and then we found that GIS data is outdated, so those water meter readers can inform to the water utility to update the data. And also we know that people do have water backups. Everyone has their own private wells. They connect to community wells. Even in certain neighborhoods, some inhabitants still buy water daily from small water enterprises because they are poor communities. So we found a lot of phenomenon and facts that they need more water. So yeah, the questions in mWater, we were also asking about the willingness to connect, the willingness to pay, and how they interested in connecting to water utility. So you can see on the map, there is an area with high interest and with low interest. Maybe with the high interest because they don't have water sources, and low interest maybe they really need, or they don't have any option, or they don't have any water in that area. Yeah, so this is the right. So this is also the right moment to get customers back, because the respondents is not only non-customers but also disconnected customers to reconnect again. And then next is real demand survey. So this survey is undertaken in the area with no pipeline networks, so blank area, we say. So this survey aims as a basis for water utility to make an investment for network extension. And then we had 19,000 respondents in within the city of Semarang in 4 all branches. And respondents are also respondents are new potential customers. They are also citizens of Semarang, and the result of this survey is we get new connections, around 1,000 connections, but it is still going up. So yeah, we are also asking about the willingness to connect, the willingness to pay for those people. And you can see on the map, it is also the map from mWater. So in this real demand survey, we focusing on the new residential areas. We focusing on new residential areas in Semarang because now the regulation in Semarang, it is not allowed to use groundwater, so those areas need to connect to water utility PDAM Tirta Modal Kota Semarang. And then, and then I conclude that yes, we promote mWater in water utility, but it is for one-time project. It is not for regular tasks because of data security, and there is no integration to the water utility, to the PDAM, to the company. Yes, it is easy to use, easy to understand even for enumerators, because our enumerators is not only educated people but also uneducated people, but they understand well when we train them. And it is cost-effective tools, yes, because it is free and you can download for free. And mWater can handle large number of surveys. mWater, and also based on our experience, it is working fastly depending on your internet connections. Yeah, it's easy to export data for analysis. It helps us to monitor. Even you can suspect if your enumerators are cheating during survey. It's also based on experience. So you can just export the data from mWater. You can see the time duration. You can see that they are cheating or not, or they send unreliable data or not to your dashboard. And also based on our experience, of course, we got troubles, we got problems while using mWater, but don't worry. I know that bugs in mWater often appears, but don't worry. You can contact mWater staff, because that's what we did while using mWater. So the staff was very fast responding. Even they gave us technical support, technical assistance until it is working, and they also help us to fix it. So if you're watching Anne and Petri, I'm really thankful that you help me, and our survey can be much more easier and faster. Yeah, and then this is our team of Semarang, WaterWorks Semarang. Joko and Agus from the water utility PDAM Kota Semarang, and then Thomas De Jong as my project manager, WaterWorks, and me, project consultant, and we also have short-term expert from Vitens, from Dutch water utilities, Marcel Lips as advisor marketing. So yeah, Marcel Lips was present during the survey to give assistance at that time. Yeah, that's all my presentation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll take just one or two questions, and then I'm going to ask Hannah to come up as well. So I'll grab the microphone.
Terima kasih. Frankly speaking, I would like to ask concerning the integration of the billing inside the mWater, especially the subscribers' details connected to the system. That's the first question.
You mean the deployment and people who deployed in mWater?
This is a software that's for collection or the data from the meters. Yeah, but the integration, it will be by another software, or it's directly be connected?
No, it's not directly integrated to other softwares. So
you can do both.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Customer survey.
Thank you. And the second question, can be worked as offline?
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously, the visualizations on the portal, you need to have data access, like that data to visualize, you need to have internet, but the data collection can be done offline, and it's actually done offline in many countries, because obviously you're environment direct. So it connects when you have connection. Like it's stored on the phone, there is actually, like you can also download the data on the map. So if you have assets already mapped, you can have them offline on your app, so that if you want to update location of specific pumps or update information about pump, you have it offline on your app, and then when you have connection, it will update. And the billing system, obviously the case in this case, it's not integrated, but we have some users, because as I said, we have over 191 countries application. We have some users, particularly in PNG at the moment, who are using mWater for the billing systems directly. So there's an accounting page, which is a separate kind of from the portal, that is specifically for customers' relationship.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to let Eureka sit down. So thank you once again, Eureka. And I'm going to pass that to Hannah Gray now, Hannah from WaterAid in the UK, to talk about one of the WOPs in which we implement it. Once Hannah is done, we'll take, if there's any other questions, either to Eureka or Hannah, we can take those. And then we do have another quick exercise to end with. So over to Hannah.
Hi everyone, my name's Hannah Gray and I work for WaterAid UK and I support the Beacon project, which is a water operator partnership in Nepal. And I'm going to talk to you today about how we've used mWater over the last year to collect some of our data and visualize it on dashboards. And the driver for this was really, first of all, to enable the utility staff in Nepal to collect the data themselves, but also so that our supporting team in the UK, the technical advisors from the utility, can see the data that's being collected. So we used to have a situation where there were emails going around with spreadsheet attachments of water quality results, lab reports, PDF scans. So we really wanted to consolidate it all into one place. It wasn't relying reliant on somebody making sure they'd saved the emails and etc. So we developed a survey that can be used by the team on the ground in Nepal on their smartphones, and I'll just run you through this. So it's literally they can use it for either recording leakages that they've noticed or are repairing. They can use it to monitor information about boreholes and also water quality results. So they use the same survey and they're putting in all the information that we've been doing out here. They can select which borehole they're at or which asset they're at in the network, record their location, and then various information about where they are and whether they use diggers to do the repairs and all that kind of stuff. So we've created this customized survey for our needs. But then the more interesting thing is the dashboards that we've created. These are still a work in progress, but it gives you an idea of how you can display the data. So this is our leakage dashboard, and it shows these charts are whether the leak is visible above the ground or whether it's hidden, what kind of leak it is, whether it's in the distribution network or in the transmission network. We have these maps that show us where the leaks are, so they're really useful for the team to see if there's any clustering happening. You can see there's particular leaks happening around here, which is the central highway where there's currently road widening going on and they keep breaking through the water mains. And there's also information about the type of pipe, so we can see whether there's certain pipe material which is more vulnerable, and whether we might need to target some major kind of repair work. Very colourful table here, which I'm going to zoom through because I don't understand all of that. And then at the bottom, a massive data bank of all the photos that the team, when they're doing repairs or documenting leaks, take pictures. So you can click on any of these photos and it pops up showing you who recorded it, who approved the survey to go onto the system, all the information about where the leak was, and then other pictures associated with it. And then at the bottom, we've linked in whether there was a water quality test done when that went back into supply, and the information about that, so it's all connected together. Then we have another dashboard here, which is around the boreholes. So again, a map showing where the boreholes are in Lahan, what their original depths were. Is that too small? Do we need to go in a bit closer? Let's go in a bit more. So yeah, you can see the depths of each of the boreholes, how many times, this one is showing how many times they've been surveyed by the CCTV camera, how much they're producing at the moment. So we can see which borehole is producing more than others. And then this is their flow rates that have been measured over time. So this helps the team in the UK that are kind of planning strategic water resources to know whether the system is functioning as they expect it to, or whether there's any issues that they need to be paying attention to. And this diagram here, which is a little bit messy, but it shows the flow rate over time. So you can see whether there's some boreholes that are starting to produce less water than they used to as an early warning system. And again, more information about all the levels. So this data is all collected by the team on the ground and can be viewed by the team in the UK. And again, at the bottom, lots of photos. And then I'll just show you one of the dashboards. We have different dashboards for water quality in the network and in the boreholes and in the customer taps. So I'll show you, let's go to the boreholes here. So again, we've kind of designed it so it's got this content list at the side, so you can zoom straight into any parameter that you're particularly interested in. So let's go to turbidity, and you can see how the turbidity is changing over time, whether we've color-coded it, so green means it's compliant with the standards that the Nepal government issue. Yellow, we need to be careful. Red, we're very concerned. And then this graph over here shows you the outliers, so you can click on these and see. It'll then edit the graph on the left so that it's just for that specific date, and show you that on this date in January 23, 16.7% of the boreholes were non-compliant. Well, in our case, that's just one, and you can see in this table here, which is flagged red, that one of our boreholes, TCN2, exceeded its turbidity parameters on that particular date. So then we had to do some investigations to find out why. So that's just an example of how we're using the system. For us, it's really helped us to track those kind of key performance indicators across the system, and it's been very easy to implement for the team on the ground. There's about 20 staff that work in the Lahan branch, and they're all using this on a daily basis. So that's me.
So before we move on to the exercise, any questions for either Hannah or for Eureka? Hannah, don't run away. Yeah.
The guy who go to the field, they should have, we call it handheld sets for testing.
Okay.
They do the test in the field and they will then put it in the tab and send it to the...
Yes.
What's the procedures?
Yeah, so how we do it in Lahan, so we have a water quality chemist and a volunteer intern, so 2 people that do water quality sampling, and they'll go out and collect samples and put them in a call box, bring them back to the laboratory at the branch office, and they do testing there with the field test kits. And then when they're doing the testing, they'll then fill in the survey on their smartphone, which brings the results through into the mWater app. So they're filling in the survey as they're doing their water quality testing in the lab.
It means they have to go back to the central laboratories?
No, but if they had field kits, they could input the data in the
kits.
field. Yeah,
Yes.
in the case of Lahan, they're not. They're doing the testing centrally.
You deal with this field kits, or it's available somewhere?
Yeah, we use field test kits on a daily basis in the branch, and then once a month we send samples off to a certified laboratory to kind of double check.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions? Any more questions for either Hannah or Eureka?
Can I just add that this is a great example of how users like WaterAid Nepal, in this case, have developed their own console. You know, we as mWater are not involved in this work is an example of how this has been created completely autonomously with the capacity of...
A combination of you with more positive solutions.
But it is great to see how it's used for regular reporting on a daily basis on water quality and how it really helps with decision making for the utility.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
Oh, sorry, there might be a question.
I want to ask, is there like a specific sample for... It's on? Okay. I wanted to ask if there is a specific samples for pumps or valves, or just they are point on the map. And another question I find different to, like, I try to draw a joint point, but whenever I select a next point, they don't ask me which 2 points I want to connect, so I have to go back and then draw another point. They just connect the last 2 points, so I don't know if I made a mistake or it's like it. Okay, thank you.
Is that for now? No. All right.
So yeah, we have some of the utilities are definitely using it for mapping pumps, valves with detailed, particularly as we were looking at some of the Haiti one. They have some valves mapped there, so I can show you some examples, yes. And then in terms of, like, as you were testing it today, yeah, there might be challenges at the beginning, just understanding how to locate things, but it's, usually it doesn't take that much practice to actually learn how to use the software. And any recommendations or improvements, we always welcome that from users to modify and improve any of the processes. And we know pipe connection is one of the things we're working on at the moment.
I was planning to ask you a question. You answered 50% of what. Do your application will be integrated for any existing systems that utility already using, such as the management maintenance system, the existing SCADA system? It can be integrated? Why?
Okay, so one example is in Haiti. What happened there is that before they started using mWater, the utilities had a different financial system. What has been created is a regular kind of export and import between the two with an API that allows for the data to be shared. It's something we try. It's quite difficult to maintain in good quality. So if you want to keep the software like quite independent from our support as well, it's good maybe not to make too complex APIs between software, but it has been done. and it's very easy to export and import between different data sets. Yeah. Are we?
Okay, any questions? If not, we'll just go into a last quick exercise just for 5 minutes, and then we'll close with just an opportunity for more questions. So
Yes.
who's presenting this?
This is a very simple exercise, survey. It's just adding to what you were doing before. It's just a example, short survey, very short, to report maintenance needs. Yeah. So just to give you an example of how you can design surveys to report operations, maintenance, new connections, anything you want can be customized and reported. So if you just scan the QR code, it will give you access to a link to a survey. We made it very simple in this case. Usually you will want to link this to the asset. In this case, it's very simplified, just for doing it in the room. But hopefully you can access the survey. And what you can do is report a leakage, for example, or a pump that is broken. Or anything else. Well, we haven't added many options. We made it very simple. Usually it will be much longer. Yeah, how much money was collected in that water system. You can just put any value. It's just examples of type of information, yes? In the meantime, if you want to also do exercise 1, there's still the posters to be mapped. So if you want to practice mapping the assets, great. So, yeah, date of data collection, if you want to include. When was it, checked? How much money? So we can also have the surveys translated in different languages in the same survey. So in this case, it's in English, but often we have them in 2 or 3 languages so that you can edit and translate all the surveys as well and have them all on the app. Yeah, absolutely. I think in Ethiopia, they are used to having them translated. I think they've been doing a lot of work on translating even the actual app text to Ethiopian, so. For them to send information about what they think, if they need any follow-up and stuff. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
We'll just take 1 more minute on this and then we'll close.
Yeah, this is, as I said, very simple. Yeah, it's just an online submission that you just sent out, and the information I can show, maybe the live data as it comes in. So I had made a dashboard. Here we go. Whoa.
So this is your data coming in live.
So source, let me refresh it. Probably not. So loads of issues with the pump, broken parts requiring maintenance, and then pipe, some leakage. We have the location of the leakage in Bonn, although I can see there's a lot of assets around there that shouldn't be coming up. But that's me not having filtered the data properly.
There's a leak somewhere in Europe. I can guarantee
But
there's a leak
the
somewhere.
GPS in here is really bad, so it goes all over the world, so not rest. But yeah, imagine when we do this on outside, if the GPS accuracy usually goes up to like 2 meters, 3 meters accuracy if you have good phones. Sometimes we've been having to upgrade some of the GPSs of some of the cheaper phones that we see sometimes being used in Eastern Africa or West Africa. Sometimes we need to make sure the GPS is accurate. Otherwise, we've seen sometimes points going all over the world. So, as I said, this is the tool, right? There's a lot of work that needs to happen around the tool in terms of the processes, the people, the training, making sure that there's a process for data cleaning, etc. But we really hope that the tool can really help with these processes.
Great. Okay.
Quick question.
Yeah, I was going to.
Only in English or other languages available?
You can translate. You can translate all the surveys in different languages. You can start it in a different language and have it just in another language. So we have users that just do it in French or other languages. So you can have multiple languages in the surveys.
So at the end of the exercise, so if there's any, yeah, I'm going to come on. So if there's any questions, we'll take them now, and that can be to either Ellen about the system, or to Patrick, or to Eureka, or, yeah, there's a question in the back first of all, though, Patrick. So. Yeah, let's take the question in the back first, Patrick. So.
Yeah, she raised about data security, so I would like to ask Ellen to clarify more on that.
Yeah. And what's your question, sir? It's not on.
Okay, so thank you for the presentation. We've been using mWater since, I think, 2017 in Harare, Zimbabwe. And I've got two issues with, you raised one of them earlier, saying that the type of phones that we use sometimes, the GPS, it's so inaccurate that it throws the infrastructure way off where it is. So there was a part where we were updating functionality, and you could actually pick on a map. So can you refine that so that maybe, because when you use Google Maps, right, you have an option to download the map so that it's already on the phone. So if you can refine that, it would really help where I come from, because sometimes, the GPS throws off everything. Then from my side, dealing with your API, it was a nightmare. So maybe you can refine the API and maybe make it interface with QGIS much better, because we use QGIS a lot. So if you can just, sorry I came in late, but yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks for the feedback. It's great to hear users, how they're working. So GPS, it's definitely something that requires, if we see that phones are putting GPS location in the wrong place, there is a GPS diagnostic on the app that helps you refine the GPS and correct the GPS of the phone. So we really try doing training. So we have a lot of training material online on the portal, and part of that includes ensuring the GPS is correct, because that's key, right? If you're using a GPS, being on mWater or any other tool, if your GPS of your phone is not correct, it's going to throw the data in the wrong location. So that definitely is an important step, as you're saying. The API, I understand the complexity. Generally, API are complex, particularly to be maintained. That's what I was saying before. So we often recommend our users to have it's an API that you can download from a data grid. So you set up the data in the format of your other database, and use the data grid to do that export as an API. So we have, WaterAid has been using this quite a lot with Power BI, where they export a lot of different data sets from mWater and have it presented on Power BI through the data grid API. So there's some information on that on the help. But we know that it is a complex issue, generally speaking, to maintain APIs between two different softwares, right? Because you have two different interfaces that you need to, you might have some updates that are happening regularly, which we do on mWater, regularly update the software. That means the API needs to change, right? So that requires someone that maintains that regularly. So it is a complex issue in general.
And Patrick had a question on just data security. Yeah, data protection.
So there's a whole page on the website, which I can share after, that explains the details of data security. So all the data, it's absolutely is on an online server, but there are a number of security steps that are being put in place. And one of the main security data sharing or data security step is ensuring that you have the right users accessing your data, right? Like what you were sharing, Patrick, with the organizational chart, that is really the main way to ensure that no one is accessing your data is by not allowing, allowing only certain groups to access the data. But in terms of security, the server has a whole security protocol that you can download from the website.
Great. Question here, and then the back, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The idea of downloading the orthophoto of the appointed area, is it possible to be inclusive here instead of using GPS? Orthophoto of the geographical area, I mean.
I will need to get back to you on that one.
And at the back, yeah.
Okay, thank you. One is to share actually my experience also using the data for another system. So for me, for example, interoperability across like different tools. The first requirement I need is the data should be exported to Excel. So I think on a motor, I usually export to Excel and import to another system, whatever system we have, for example. So I don't also expect, for example, a motor to do every other processes. So I use it for like monitoring asset management. Then the other I can also link by exporting. So coming to the discussion around the security, I think that's a big issue also in Ethiopia. So that's not actually like, user level security is already there in the system so that we can secure users, unauthorized users. So the issue is more of, for example, at national level, for example, in Ethiopia, there is a need to have local server, like not to trust, for example, putting the national water system database, on the cloud, where, for example, So I think that is a big issue, and that's why also, for example, in Ethiopia we don't have any national database. So there are opportunity of tools like mWater and others. So so I think my question is how mWater is thinking to maybe localize